Hello and welcome to the video for Wednesday, July 22nd. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody in from the waiting room. Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hi.
I had to get out of the pool for class. I was pouting.
You were pouting?
I had to get out of the beautiful pool
Oh.
too
What,
early.
what you need is a laptop on a little floaty.
Well, where were you 10 minutes ago?
Well, I wasn't in the pool, I'll tell you that.
Uh, well, anyway, this is so worth it. You guys are so fun.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start taking a roll here while you guys are joining the class. Okay.
I've been making organic paintings again.
Doing what with paintings?
Organic, where you paint with like cherries and blackberries and avocados and
You actually paint with those things? You make paint out of those?
yeah, it's really cool. I might do something with it and show you guys.
Okay, that sounds cool.
I was gonna look into digital, like, okay, so I like really organic stuff, like you can make your own plant dyes. And then they digitize this stuff, right? Because they want to share it. And I was wondering if there's like a something that really maintains organic intention, kind of. In the artwork.
Okay, yeah. So everything is organic from soup to nuts.
Right?
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I was gonna Google it.
Or you could make a painting that's entirely the opposite, where all it uses are toxic materials.
Oh yeah, that is a good idea too. I like that.
Like an irradiated canvas, and then plutonium paintbrushes.
Dude, you could have them side by side, the yin, the yang, the good, the bad.
It sounds like something the Russians would do, you know, like target one of their critics in a London museum or something like that.
I got you a painting. It's very special. You put it in your kitchen.
The piece is called Entropy in Chernobyl.
Nice. I like it.
This is a good concept.
Do you guys know about this phenomena of people creating artwork and then just giving it away?
Ooh,
I wish I could do something.
I love that.
I mean, I've seen people do it. Somebody's just given me a drawing of theirs once. So
there was a homeless guy that used to hand out poems on the corner of Campbell and Ina.
There's
cool.
there's a whole like internet thing where artists will create work and then it's like a scavenger hunt. They will leave it in places for people to find.
Geo art caching.
Yeah. And I wrote a short article about an artist in America who was one of the guys who started doing this. I think he lived in New York or something. And he used to make these beautiful paintings and he would hide them all over the city, and then he would give his followers little clues as to where they were.
That's fun.
Like $1 million recently.
What's that?
A man did it with like $1 million or $2 million or something. He did the same concept. The woman found it.
Yeah, but that guy buried like $1 million worth of gold like 10 years ago, and people have been looking for it ever since then.
Right. So this is really cool. Sorry to interrupt. I'm excited about this. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I think you guys know about, you know how we were talking about graffiti artists? Well,
Yeah.
a couple years ago, Banksy did this. He did a basically what he called an outdoor installation in New York, and every day he put up a new piece of artwork somewhere in New York, and then people found out about it by social media. You know, somebody would take a picture of it and upload it and say, Banksy's new artwork is at this geolocation, and everybody would run down there to take a picture and all that kind of stuff. Some people would run down there and try to steal the artwork, you know what I mean? It was pretty, it was sort of the most, one of the highest publicized use of this idea of giving away free artwork.
Well,
And, you know, it's interesting. This guy who I wrote the article about, he said once he made this giant oil painting and he put it on a park bench. And he sat in a cafe across from the street and watched people walk by and everything. And then he saw this old man sit down and look at the painting, and there was a little note on it, and he, and you know, said that it was free. And he watched the joy in this man's face, and as he leapt up and took the painting and walked away, and it just made his day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sounds so cute.
Very
Yeah.
wholesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
that is really cute. Have you seen where it's somewhat similar? Some of you guys are musicians, but where the concert violinist goes to like I don't know, under a bridge somewhere
Oh yeah,
and starts to play and
yeah. And I think I told you guys about those people over in Europe that were doing concerts for one person. You know, they would invite one
Yeah.
person to come sit down, and they play a concert. It's pretty cool stuff.
No way. Yeah, that's new.
Okay, so I think I've got everybody who's here in the attendance sheet. And so, does anybody know who the lucky winner is that gets to do a presentation today? Okay, I might have to just look it up then.
I can do it because I was about to pull up the thing anyways.
Well, let me see.
I was gonna say, I know it's not me. Huh?
Did you change the color of your hair, or is my monitor just being?
Okay,
Your monitor's probably showing it better, especially with the light.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Thank you.
well, good news for you guys. The person who was assigned to do the presentation today actually never ended up coming to the class. So, so nobody had
Great.
a presentation today.
Don't
Yay.
move everyone up one day, please.
So in lieu of a presentation, there's a couple things I want to show you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the class website. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and what I want to show you guys are a couple of cool things. First, I want to show you this article I just found. It's about an artist who's using their art to promote, you know, social justice, social causes, and things like that. So click on this link, and what it is somebody came up with the idea to make little stickers that are the size of postage stamps and put them on letters to promote their causes, right? And of course, they're not stamps, so you have to use a stamp as well. But it's the idea that you could put anything that you want as a little piece of sticky art and attach it to letters and stuff, and then it basically gets your message out there. Yeah, so it's a really cool idea. And so the link is on the website, and if you're interested, you can click these links and read some of the information about it and read about the artists who were featured. But it's a really clever idea, you know.
Well, and you can stick them lots of small spaces, you know.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't put this, not that I'm encouraging this, but you could put them on bus stops, on doors, on street corners, you know what I mean? We're talking,
You're not encouraging this, but if it does
Yeah.
happen, you will look and you'll go, aw.
Well, to bail out Yee, no one sent any money for Yee's bail
Yeah, we haven't started Yee's Bail Fund yet, but
No GoFundMe.
Did we
yet.
start my bail fund at
I
least?
won't drop the ball on you people. I will be there. I will.
well, but we talked about Shepard Fairey yesterday and how he took these Obey images. And for those of you who haven't seen them, this was the original sticker. It's a picture of Andre the Giant, and it says Obey on it. And there was also one that said Andre the Giant has a posse, and those were some of the original ones. But it could be the same idea. You could make your own art, and you could make it into little stickers, and it may just be art, or it may have some sort of larger purpose, like anti-war, pro-social justice, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's pro-capitalism. I don't know. Whatever your gig
Gross.
is. But then you could do things with it.
Oh, dang it, I have a lot more lines. Sorry, I've talked to myself.
That's okay. You could put it in sort of legally accepted places, like on your letters and stuff, on your binders. Or if you wanted to be an outlaw guerrilla artist, you could put it in legally unacceptable places, like on light posts and stuff.
Mhm.
Well, there was somebody, I can't say who has a screen name, scribbles on menus. So if you stuck them on menus,
You stuck them on.
randomly, you'd be like tagging menus. Everybody looks at menus.
That's a clever idea.
Like restaurants menus,
Yeah.
Mia. Okay,
What's that?
I see.
What was it, Luke?
You mean like menus at restaurants that people were looking?
It could be menus of any kind. I'm just going to go there. But theater ticket, people look at menus though at food places a lot. And so remember they used to have like coloring activities like at restaurants for some reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could
Those are fun.
stuff like that.
Yeah, they used to do, I don't know if they even still do this, I don't get out a lot, where they would take all the people's art that they did and then like kind of put it up on the walls.
Yeah. I've seen that. Or some tables, some restaurants, like maybe some Italian restaurants that use paper.
Yeah,
They give you crayons, and you can color on the tablecloth.
Yeah, my ex boyfriend was a watercolor instructor, and he was really great at pen and ink and stuff. He was just a phenomenal artist, and he would draw on those, just do incredible works of art, and just leave them there.
Okay, so two other things I wanted to point out to you guys. One is this website, Behance. Has anybody heard of Behance before?
Yes.
Only through here.
Yeah. What do you think, Brianna, about Behance? What's your opinion?
I'm still iffy about it. I know that for professionalism, they want you like put your Behance like portfolio and stuff on there. But I've always heard that for like if you like anime or like manga type stuff, that's not a place you can like get big on because they're more towards like illustrations and stuff like that. But I mean, you can pretty much put whatever you want on there, and then yeah.
Yeah. So Behance is an online portfolio site that is free, and it got bought by Adobe. So there's actually, Adobe even built these little menus into its system where you can take an image that you made in Photoshop and press a couple buttons, and it will go be posted to your Behance portfolio, right? But here's a Behance portfolio of just a random artist, right? Who just put up something called various artworks.
Hey, random thought again.
Yeah.
Ammo.
Yeah.
There's never been like a digital tagger, has there? Because it would be kind of hilarious if these stickers just started showing up.
Yeah, I don't know how you could get that to work unless it was through malware. So anyway, this is some artwork from this artist, and they have it up on a portfolio.
That's the one I really like, that one.
And what you can see is they have like a sort of a Facebook like button. And so you can say that you like somebody, you can follow them, and you can make comments, right? And so this is a way that you could start to build an audience for yourself You see all the tools over here, like the follow tools, and this is probably, I haven't investigated this, but this is probably how you would upload a Photoshop image, you know, and so on and so forth. And the other thing that can happen here is you can actually get hired from here to do work. I mean, art directors who are looking for artists will come and peruse Behance, and if they find you and they like you, they might offer you some work, right? So lots of potential there. As Brianna said, there's probably other sites that are better for specific types of artwork, like you know, obviously DeviantArt was a big, or is a big site for a certain type of artist. And then there's one more site here for a different sort of artist, which is called ArtStation. Anybody ever heard of that? Oop. What?
Art,
Oh, ArtStation's not coming up.
I
'Cause,
had it up earlier.
well, it said that okay, there we go. So ArtStation is where you can put a lot of artwork, make a free portfolio. And this one I think is a little more geared towards fantasy, game design art, concept art, things like that. So once again, here is a random artist with some really cool quality work that has their portfolio up, and this could lead to them getting work in an industry, or maybe some of this work is work that they've done for the industry. You know what I mean? So this is another opportunity for you. And of course, most of us are a little cowed by the quality of the artwork on these sites. We're like, I don't want to put my stuff up. These guys are too good or whatever. But, you know, you could put up whatever level you are. You could put up a website, start putting up your work, put up better work as it gets done, swap out the older work for newer work, and build an audience and maybe make connections. You could make friends. You could make contacts, you know, in the industry. So it's kind of a cool opportunity.
Wow.
Greg, is that
What do they call that? Have you guys heard that term, outsider art?
Yeah.
Okay. And that means what? Alternative art?
No, outsider art, from what I understand, is it's just someone who just starts making art and they don't have training and they just kind of make waves with their personal style or whatever.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if someone else could explain it.
It's almost like folk art or something, you know?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
The art that just, yeah.
And so some of those people get like a big following. So I was just thinking when you said don't compare yourself to all the other artists that are maybe on these sites, just kind of, you know, it could be anybody, including they have these outsider, just random people that just start making stuff and they just have a real knack for it or whatever.
Does anybody else have a question or a comment on this site?
Yeah, Greg, I was wondering if it was only for graphic artists.
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I do, your question made me remember a couple of other things, which is that they actually have contests on this site. They actually have training on the site. They have a marketplace where you can sell things, and they even have job postings and places, you know, where you can sell prints and books. I would suspect that you could put paintings on this site because I know that some of the artwork that I've seen in here has been painted. However, there may be sites that are more specific for fine arts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a question, because once you say you've made, like Robin makes a beautiful painting like she does, and once you put it into a program, one of these programs that we're learning, doesn't it automatically then become quote unquote digital art?
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially it is once you've taken a picture of it. Oh, well, here you go. So I just did a search for fine art painting on the site, and this is what we come up with.
I think it's called hybrid art or digital.
Yeah, a lot of those look digital to me.
That still
But
says
maybe it's just
ArtStation.
putting screen.
They may well be. And, you know, like I said, you could search around. Nowadays, there's a website for everything. So if you're like an anime artist and you want to put your work on a portfolio where you might get some work for companies looking for anime artists, there's probably a website just dedicated just for that. And it may be true with fine artists, and this is definitely, ArtStation is definitely, I would say it's geared towards digital artists.
There's a photo group that I belong to online, and it's Fine Art from Photography, and they have some way of digitally making it appear as though it's fine art.
Okay, well, that's cool. I mean, I would say, I guess what the recommendation I would give you guys is just to investigate. If you like the idea of making connections with people, following people, putting your own work up. I mean, it's basically just Instagram, but a more focused version of it, you know? Okay, let me go back to our class website here, if I can ever get there.
Probably be like better to just have the portfolio in all the places like Instagram, ArtStation, and all that on to see where you get contracted by.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like the cheapest form of marketing you could possibly do is do the kind of work you like, put it on Instagram, ArtStation, and Behance. Follow other people you like so that maybe when you follow them, they'll take a look at your work and follow you. And eventually, if you get enough followers, maybe somebody will come knocking, you know? There was a student at Pima who was an illustration student, and she was doing some comic book art. And last year, I went to the Phoenix Comic-Con, and she had a booth there. And she was it just featured her artwork, you know, it was just like Instagram portraits of comic type people. And at that point, she had amassed something like 15,000 followers on her Instagram account. And a lot of those people were coming down to the Comic-Con and buying all her stuff at her booth. And so I said, how are you doing? She goes, I'm doing great. You know, people are buying all my stuff. She goes, the Instagram really helped, you know. So, you know, it is a way that you can gain an audience and potentially, you know, sell some work.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Like,
What?
I was just going to say, like, with my job, just putting stuff on a couple of sites, like totally just, you know, 5 minutes of investment of my time has come back in the over $10,000 of income, random income from random people finding me, you know, and that was like 5 minutes of work. And it's happened over the, you know, the 30 or 40 years I've been doing this. If I spend that 5 minutes, it's hilarious. They call me from, I don't even know where. And it's really excellent work. So it does pay off.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest challenges for most of us is just actually putting our work up because we feel like it's not good enough or it's not ready. And if you keep that attitude, it will never be good enough and it will never be ready. So you could use the opposite attitude, which is, it is good enough, it is ready, and put it up and then it's going to get better, you know?
You call me out like this. I did not come to class to be called out like this.
I heard him say Kim in there. But, you know, well, that was my thing. Like, I don't have a Skyrise. I could rent one because they have rental spaces. I don't have a Skyrise conference center with a limousine service, which some of the people that do what I do have all of that set up. But I have a videographer I can call, and they actually just wanted a more of an independent person. There's a market for someone who's just going to their location. So I don't know. I was dumbfounded. It was just a lark, and it worked great.
Okay, so Luke asked a question in the chat, just checking, when are the Photoshop assignments due? So I wanted to talk about deadlines and stuff like that. So first of all, let me give you the overall general deadline. The last day of class is August 4th, and that is when everything is due, August 4th. So if you want to put your feet up, go on vacation, rewatch Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad, and then on August 3rd, stay up 24 hours and do all your work and turn on the 4th, you're good. You know, I'll accept the work. However,
why would I ever want to watch Game of Thrones?
What's that?
Why would I ever want to watch Game of Thrones?
Well, it's not homework. It's a
But
choice.
it, but it, the last season bombed.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Everybody
Okay.
got mad at the last season.
You make an excellent point. In fact, I think I'm going to change it. I think if you turn in your homework late, I'm going to make you watch Game of Thrones the last season.
Oh no, please don't. I don't even have enough context to watch that.
Now, that being said, the fact that everything is due by the end of the semester, there are some strategies that will improve your odds of doing well in the class. One is to be done or nearly done with all the Illustrator work now. And more than half of you are done. Some of you aren't, and I put a little note up on the website. If you're not yet finished with your Illustrator projects, you need to get these done so you can work on finishing the Photoshop projects, which are coming, fast and plenty. So you need to stay on top of this stuff because it adds up. But basically, everything is due at the end of class, but the smart money is on finishing the work as we go and then moving on to the next section, because otherwise it just starts to pile up, right? Make sense, Luke?
Yes, I muted myself.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna look at some work from you guys, and then we're gonna talk about new assignments and stuff. I will give you a little preview into the future. You remember how the Illustrator assignments, we ended up doing 10 of those, and then it made it easy for me to give you grades. If you finish 9 or 10, that's the A category, and 8 is the B, and so on and so forth. So I grouped the Photoshop assignments into a grouping of 10. And some of them we haven't been introduced to yet, but here they are. The fruit bowl, the melon head, creating a sticker. I broke the world tour in the Bahamas, which are both the layer mask thing, into 2 projects just to make 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, 10 is just an easy number to work with, right? I mean, easy. Now for the ad campaign, each person is doing 2 things. So like say you did the billboard and the van, that's 2 projects, right? Today we're going to talk about this new project, which is the infographic poster. I'm also eventually going to assign you a double page spread, which is like a product catalog of whatever products you want to sell. And your last project will be to do an annual report cover for a corporation, whatever corporation you want. So those are the projects, and those are going to take us into next week. We'll finish up Photoshop next week and move on to our final program, which is InDesign.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So any questions about that?
No, that's clear. Thanks for helping us with the list and stuff, and giving us a preview and stuff.
Okay, and I know you guys are still working on your ad campaign, and so I don't want you to freak out like that I'm giving you additional work while you're working on your ad campaign. Remember, the ad campaign isn't due until next Monday, and this other work, you can just get to it when you get to it. Some people have already jumped ahead and nearly finished or finished their work on the ad campaign, so they can start working on this other stuff, and others will finish the ad campaign and then move on to the new stuff. Okay, but let me go into the folder here, and we'll look at any work that you guys have done, so we can see where you are with things. So Diego, you're always number 1, sir.
Yep.
Anything in Diego world?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. Cynthia.
I do not have anything new.
Cynthia is what?
No, I don't.
Okay. Eric?
I just updated my ads or whatever, like you said.
So this is a new design?
Oh yeah, I was just trying to condense it down, my ideas a little bit.
That is awesome.
So so like this piece would stick up beyond the billboard?
Yeah, it's probably expensive, but it's cool.
But you don't care. You're not paying for it.
I'm not paying for it. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Have you guys seen those digital billboards in like places like Phoenix?
Yeah.
Where they just flip a consistent or like a certain amount of time, it changes to a new one.
And have you seen the digital billboard trucks?
No, I have
Mhm,
not
mhm.
seen that.
I think I
Those are
have.
things.
I did.
They're cool. They
Yeah.
drive around
They're
Tucson.
crazy.
And the interactive ones at the airports.
They're giant trucks with digital displays on either side of the truck, and then they just display digital ads, and they drive all around town.
Huh.
It's kind of
I'm
cool.
sure the corporations that own those things have a lot of money to be able to, like, you know, repair. Those things are probably super expensive to repair if they get nicked on the road or something.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, and they're trying to come up with these, well, they have, with these glasses that scroll ads on the sides of your peripheral vision. Ugh,
No.
way back.
Leave us
Mhm.
alone.
Oh, no, seriously. If you're driving down the highway and you see the exit sign will trigger ads to scroll on the sides of these glasses and
Right.
tell you what restaurants there. Ugh.
There was a special series on Netflix. Maybe some of you guys saw this maybe 6 months ago, and it took place in the future, and ads were people. And what would happen is if you bought something that came with advertising, a person would come and sit down next to you and tell you the ad. You know,
South Park did something like that.
what was it?
Oh my god.
What was
I
it?
think a show. I think it was South Park that did a show like that, episode like that. But there was people, but there were ads, and this one
Nope.
kid could distinguish ads from non-ads, and then he was like, "Oh my goodness, this person is an ad.
Yeah.
They're evolving."
I love South Park.
Okay, so this looks great, Eric. And then the magazine.
Oh, nice.
Oh, did you
Oh,
draw people?
Eric, I was gonna say, what if we changed it, like instead of a convention, it was more of a comic store and took
Yeah,
some.
that's fine. I'm just gonna. It's fine.
That's incredibly beautiful. That's just great.
Oh,
Yeah.
what did you say, Greg?
Did you draw all these people?
No, they were free art. Yeah. I
You're
mean,
doing a great job with this.
Yeah, it looks cool.
if I had the time, of course, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Well, looks great.
Oh, those look really, really nice. Okay, and then let's see, Carolina, anything?
Hey, isn't it like me because we're both working on the same thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me jump down to Adrian, who's working on the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Photoshop. And
Okay, so I first got the Texan comic one, so it's a bit updated. And I think if you click on avatars, those are some character designs I'm making right there.
The avatars.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
cool. I like this girl in the middle.
Yeah, I want to make like three. One that's like a superhero, a girl, and then like a creature, but like a more friendly one. You know, like
Oh,
some like there's always that creature sidekick, like a kind of like a Pikachu or something like that.
yeah, something nice.
Or a monkey, I think some people have, like from Speed Racer.
Cool.
Yeah, so this could be like somebody who's on the van, right?
Yeah, I was thinking one of them can be on a van, and then they can all be together in the website. Just that it took me a while to make just a guy.
Did you make the guy or?
Yeah. So all this is original.
Wow. Really
Because
great.
I discovered some
Looks like a-
techniques that I saw on the internet, and I'm like, okay, I guess this would be a great opportunity to try them out.
I don't know what the term is, but you seem to be really good at like sort of metal colors, feel, mechanical. like those robot ones.
Industrial.
The industrial, yeah. Good
I would say, yeah, like I always sometimes just draw, industrial, military-ish type characters.
Yeah, they're really good. When Greg sent us to, it was either Behance or ArtStation, they had that one guy that did the kind of robot people. It reminded me of your stuff, Adrian, or vice versa.
Yeah, he totally ripped off your stuff, Adrian. You should sue him.
Yep.
'Cause I love drawing like robots too. It's like, especially cyborgs. I think that's the funnest for me, the funnest type of characters to draw.
Yeah. Well, these look great. And then, okay, now we'll jump back up to Carolina. Anything in your world?
Hey, Eric, I did want to say, do you want to use like the guy for the billboard?
I think we have to do like different characters for each of them, but I can add them in there.
Or would it look too weird? I think it will look kind of weird because it'll be like two different styles.
I know. I went and duplicated layers from some of Kim's stuff, and it asked me where I wanted to duplicate it, and it put it into my other file that I was working on, so that we could be more homogeneous.
Okay. All right. I'm not hearing from Carolina.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, it's okay.
I have the van and somewhat fixed my billboard. I just added a little bit more information. But we're using a different logo. I just didn't change it yet on the van.
Oh man, I love what you did with that hiker.
It's updated. That's not how it looks like anymore. It looks better.
Okay. So we're are we going to see it on Robin's stuff? Does it look right there?
I believe so.
Yeah, my stuff's got the new one.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this is a van idea, but the logo is going to be updated, right?
Just a tad bit.
Okay. What do you guys think of this this van?
And I like
Looks good.
the blues, like behind the trees near the window. I don't know how to. It's like the background. It's not the tree, but I don't know. I just like the way it came out.
One of my first reactions is I sort of wonder what it would look like if there was only one tent and the trees were a little more identifiable as trees. Because if this is in traffic and it's going by very quickly, you know, those orange things almost look like pods. This could be a Mars colony. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, when you go by quickly, like if somebody showed this to me quickly and they said, "What was that?" I'd be like, "Mars colony," you know. I'm just wondering. It's just feedback from one person. If you had a picture that was just one tent and very obvious trees, if it wouldn't more quickly communicate camping than one that might take a little longer to process.
It's Mars camping.
Mars camping. Yeah, that's what you have to put a little picture of Elon Musk over here on your logo and then have it be like camp on Mars, you know. Anyway, the colors are beautiful, and the van does look really cool. What do you guys think? Does everybody else just immediately get camping?
I think Yee's company is going to merge with this company.
Maybe if they get into an auto accident, then they'll merge. What do you think,
Like
Luke?
Reese's.
Do you look at this and do you just think camping right away? So,
I guess so. I think the first thing that really pops out to me is the colors. Really, I really like the colors. The tents are like super vivid and just kind of a nice, warm-looking feel to it. But it does kind of look like camping at first. Maybe if it was driving, probably you take a, you know, maybe it wouldn't communicate that right away. That's the only thing that I would agree with you on that. That might be something.
Could the one bigger tent to the right towards the front tire just be smaller, like a trailing you know, so that it looks like they're in a distance so they're still there, but it's just a different size, that one on the right?
I tried to make it smaller. It's just it didn't really fit. It looked weird because of the black on the bottom.
Got you.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
Greg,
yeah.
I just want to say that if that van crash or merge with a toilet booth, it would be a bad idea.
Okay. So we probably won't merge your companies then. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you want to, Carolina, the colors are really great and it really attracts your eye. You might experiment with another picture or two and see if there's one that you think is a little more impactful on the van.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have what else in here? Your billboard?
Yes, I think it's the first one. That one. I just wrote a little more.
Okay. All right, any feedback on this billboard?
I might make a little bit of the text somewhat different. I mean, it's all good, but like maybe put a stroke around one or a highlight around, somehow to break up, to give each line attention. I don't know how to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, the thing about a billboard is you only have 10 seconds to process the information because you're whizzing by on the freeway. You might consider doing something like taking this information in the corner and putting it all the way across the bottom. And then maybe you could take one or two lines out from this and just have one big catchphrase that grabs people's attention, you know?
Right. There was something about making Google Slides, wasn't it? Where you don't put more than 3 lines of something.
That may be the case, yeah. I mean, the idea is that you keep the minimum amount of information to grab somebody's attention. But I think that the color is really nice, and you've done a good job with the information you put on here. I just think maybe if it's an actual billboard, you might want to do a little less. A beautiful picture. I love the picture.
I really like the colors. I like the way the tent's glowing, the fire's glowing. I mean, those things, and the sky is glowing. I mean, that looks like they've spent quite a bit of work getting that.
Yeah, it's a great picture, and you got good content.
And I actually like the font color. It maybe doesn't have to be anything. Just there, instead of 4 lines of center text, maybe like you said, 1 or 2 or something.
You know, like okay, here's an example. If you took out "don't have the equipment" and "trailbound surplus for Kemi," and you say "need a getaway," we got you, and then that's it, you know. And then, you know, there's the name of the company, and then at the bottom is some contact information, you know.
Okay, that sounds good.
It looks good.
Thank
Okay, Robin, should we look at yours now?
Yeah, I've got a website up and an updated magazine.
Website and updated magazine. Okay, Robin.
And I made a separate file for it. It's called Trailbound Project.
Wow.
Yeah, dingus. The dingus is the eye catcher, dude. I love it.
Smack in the middle.
Wow. I like what you did up here in the top right, where the menu and the search and the hamburger menu, that looks really great. And then this is your updated logo, right?
Yeah, if you zoom in, I kept the line, but I just kind of created a mountain scene.
Oh. Wow,
that's
so cool.
Yeah, and then we also added some pine cones. I muted mine a little bit, but we added those next to the lantern.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Because those can catch on fire, though.
Depends on the lantern.
Is there anybody else who, when they go camping, takes pine cones and treats them like hand grenades, or am I the only one?
I'm
People
gonna
go
try that
camping.
next time.
At the rival camps, you know.
And that's what happened to Mount Lemon.
Right.
Too soon, too soon.
Hey, I started the Bighorn Fire or whatever.
I knew it.
With a pine cone grenade. Okay, this is great.
If you wet them down, I think they're heavier. They do more damage.
Okay, and then we've got a magazine ad.
Yes. I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna add maybe something on the left and then maybe like some small text on the very bottom.
Yeah, no, it looks really pretty.
I kind of want to suggest maybe if you took surplus and dropped it down just a little bit, it seems a little close to the word trailbound. And now you've got all this room defined by the guy and the line. You could pull it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I can do that.
It looks really great.
Thanks.
Did you use the radial or what kind of to get that kind of the center of the sky sort of glows? You know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't do anything. That was just the photo.
Ah. Is there a shadow behind 5 pro tips for light? Does anybody else see that, or is it my monitor?
Yeah, no, I put a very transparent rectangle behind the wording just because it was a little bit hard on the eyes without it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you're going to use the like dingus line, do you see doing that across all your advertising?
I would hope.
I was you mean like say that, like call everyone a dingus?
Or use that same kind of colloquialism type advertising on other things like the van and the magazine and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna add like a little coupon that says like 20% off if you put your fires out or something like that. So like little silly things, but that was just mainly for my entertainment.
Okay. Do you know what glamping is?
Yes.
Oh my God, I do.
Maybe you could make a joke about glamping or something.
20% added to all glampers.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, it looks great. You guys are doing a really nice job. Okay, so let's see. Kim, anything in
Me?
You?
You know that fancy travel poster thing that we were supposed to do? I did it.
Which one?
We also updated or at least I added a couple new things.
I feel like we might be done with our mirror company project, whatever it's called. I don't know which it is.
Yes, head into there first. I know the magazine and the van for sure are done unless you say it's horrible, in which case then it's not done.
Or it's done anyway and you just don't care.
Same with mine. Also with you.
Behold, mirrors.
I like those. We were night owls and I found that cool mirror. I added it to something, Kim, that yellowish one. I like that.
Awesome.
I like your little starman. He's cute.
He's a friend. I haven't named him.
He's our local. I call him Star of the Show guy.
There we go.
He needs a better name than that.
Well, you can say that, but I like it.
All right.
This is a totally minor thing, but I kind of wish I wish his little yellow fingers were sort of pushed around to the front so it looks like he's holding the mirror.
I can do that.
Okay.
Whoa. But that makes more work for me because then I have to go and copy it again.
Oh.
Well,
so much work, yeah.
It makes more work for you than it makes me happy.
There you go. Good. So glad to hear.
It was okay if I left the fancy not could be real words, but I don't know what they mean words.
Okay, the lorem ipsum.
Instead of
Yeah.
writing an actual little ad. Blah.
Well, this is
That's
the
okay.
background. The background's really beautiful, and I like the way you did the background going into the black, and then you put your sort of content we need to read down here, and you got your mirrors up there. It's a very eye-catching ad.
Behold. I don't know what to say. I added a big circle mirror though. And I went in and I traced the mirror company by hand and changed the color to white so we could see it.
Okay.
That was fun.
Well,
I don't know how so it would be really hard to kind of just depict a mirror as a 2D photo, or because it's like it could be a window, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Like I would think that it'd be interesting to have an actual mirror on the side of the van or something.
That'd be really cool.
And I wanted her to
stuff,
do, I wanted her to do mirrors for the side view mirrors to make them like hand mirrors or
Just
something.
put an extra hand mirror over the
Yeah.
regular mirror.
But on the, you know what I mean? They would be
It's just
really
covered
hilarious.
in got a bunch of rear view mirrors all over.
It would probably cause accidents because everyone would be like getting reflections in their face. But you see the star, right? The star guide mirror, the slant of the lines is different angle, maybe? And it looks more like a mirror than the big circly one, which looks like a porthole thing on a ship. Those windows to me.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, you might.
I could always just draw a different mirror. I just
No, I
thought,
like it.
ooh,
I just
circle.
wonder if you could skew it or something.
Oh, like warp it so it's not exactly dead on,
Teach?
right?
The mirror on the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be stronger without it.
You think so?
Yeah, because then your focus would be on everything that's in the back.
Fair enough.
Didn't we have a one, Kim, that was with a smaller mirror there?
I think I just scribbled it as a placeholder and I didn't actually put like just the little hand mirror on.
No, you did. I have it right here.
Yeah, like the older one for sure.
Yeah,
The one
I
without,
can you move it? I don't know how to move. Let me see. Move it to, I can't do very good, but I'll try to my drive. Let me see if I can move it over so you can see it, because she had another design. We've been saving our drafts in like a little.
We save everything.
Well, we do. We're organized. We got so where'd it go? Hold on. Van idea has to go. Let's see. Move to. Give me one sec.
Okay, while you're doing that, I think I'm going to bring up the billboard graphic.
Okay.
Oh, I like the little white glow around the one fancy mirror.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I like the white on the text there. That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks. It took a while. It was just a lot of. Well, I was telling Kim I'm an excellent button pusher. We're like the button pusher team. I was just like randomly,
You just push buttons, hope it looks good.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to download that and put it back up. That's the fastest way I can do it. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out because I don't exactly know how to move from one folder.
I do, but it only works in certain times. It's not always so
the happiest.
Yeah, so what was the critique on the billboard? Anything?
I think as I look at the campaign as it's unfolding, it looks like it's very very casual kind of graphics, and so in that case, it's working because everything is consistently casual,
Yeah.
But
to me, it kind of looks like it's a bit hot on the eyes. because there's so many, like, how to say, so many colors and all that, which is okay, but sometimes it could be a bit sewing to some people when there's just so much. And I guess the mules are a bit confusing how they shift from quality.
Oh, that's kind of funny, Adrian. It makes me think that when you get your mirror in the mail, it's going to be this like little cartoon mirror. It's like bent wrong. And
We only sell the cartooniest of mirrors.
that would be awesome. Wouldn't it be great if
That would be so cool.
This kind of looks like
it reflects you as your inner personality is. It reflects back like a caricature of you.
like the real you, like a funhouse mirror kind of thing?
Yeah, or the starry you, because it is star reflections. Maybe it enhances your personalities.
Okay, so the question would
Makes
be,
you a
do
better
guys-
person.
The question would be, do you guys want to look at that mule?
Which one?
The one that reveals who you are? Would you guys
I
be
always
ready for
do.
that?
I'd look at it. Why not?
I always do. Yep.
Okay, so here's the website, and it has that same kind of fun, casual approach to it. I like this little monkey.
You know what this reminds me of?
The little monkey. I didn't get a chance to look at these before I came to class, so I'm glad I'm looking at them now because I love them.
I think someone might have said something. I didn't.
This kind of reminds me, like, I'm not sure if you guys thought of it, but like there was this game called like Baldi's Basics, and it's supposed to
Oh my god, that
Oh no.
and I feel like
We need to change everything right now.
I feel like this kind of gives me that vibe, like it's like click here, and it's like if I click there, something bad is gonna happen.
You get sucked into the mirror like the looking glass.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you guys have done a great job. It's really fun. It's very original. It looks really cool.
Yay.
Awesome.
I had a question on it.
Yes.
Well, when I got those 6 little carousel images, I guess you call them at the bottom, every time I would download them, and they were from a free site, one of the ones, I can't remember what it was called, free images or something.com. One of the ones you mentioned. And I would download them, and they would be HEIC, and then I would open it in Paint, and then I would save it, and then I would open it in Photoshop. But when I downloaded them and changed them to PNG, it would say, all transparency will be lost, which doesn't mean a thing to me, really. What is that?
Well, I haven't run into that particular issue, but it just sounds like when it changes from one format to another, it's not going to, whatever that HEIC format is, it's not going to play nice with the ping transparency.
And so what do they mean by quote unquote the transparencies, the shininess of it?
No, they mean the see-throughness of the background. If you have an image that has a see-through background, that's transparency.
That's what I was calling shininess. I think they looked a little more mirrory. Okay. Okay, thanks.
So, Luke, have you and your partner got anything new? Luca Beta.
Pardon, what was the question?
Have you and your partner got any new work in there for the ad campaign?
Well, I've been working on it more or less. Brianna, how has your site been doing?
You say Brianna? You mean me?
Cynthia, I'm so sorry. I sometimes forget names.
Oh, it's doing good. Let me see. He didn't want to like what do you say? Like use pictures, so we're like creating the images.
Okay.
That's like the different like parts to it. So I'm in the process of creating a dragon.
Okay, got it.
I mean, I can put it on my folder so we can look at it right now, but I'm not completely done. So like, I don't know, maybe I can get some feedback.
Okay, perfect. And then Luke, do you have any drawings in here? New ones?
Unfortunately, no. I'm still working on it.
Okay, not a problem.
Kim put up that other van. I didn't know if you wanted to see it.
Okay, we'll look at that while Cynthia's uploading her thing.
It was the original one before she made the bigger mirror. It's a good thing we saved everything, huh, Kim?
Right?
Good job. Button pusher.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like that one.
All right, we're done.
Yay! All I have to do is add in the other mirror again, which is.
I have the old PSD. It's in the PSD for Star Staff folder.
Yeah.
So you could just grab it and.
Well, do I have it saved?
I love
don't know. We'll find out.
Dragon.
That's cool.
I'll send it to you, Kim.
I had it like a dark blue at first, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like black looks better.
It's
Is
just
it
really
vector
cool.
art?
That's like a fire breathing dragon.
What was that?
Is it vector art?
Vector art?
Or like made with the pencil?
I did it with, yeah, the pen.
I mean, it
Kinda looks
looks
sad.
great.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's really appealing. Now, what are you going to use this dragon in? Which one of the ad campaign things?
Probably the billboard or what was it? The website.
Okay. Yeah, it looks great. Really nice. Those background colors really pop him out.
Yeah, I wanted to do like cool colors. Like, I wanted to create him in cool colors so that he would pop out with like warm background colors.
Okay. It looks great. Really nice.
Anything I could change? Any feedback?
The only thing that stands out to me right now is this outer curve of the wings looks a little like you might want to relook at that, how that's looking, because
Like a bit rigid.
the way that this curve goes is a little unusual. Maybe it could be just a straight up curve, or maybe you could try looking at different angles for these facets of the wing, but it looks a little unusual to me.
Okay.
Also, the inner chords, like I'm not sure if they should follow one direction, because I see one curve of the wing is following more to the left, and then another one leans more to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you could even do something like, there's a little bit of a cheat, but you could draw one wing and you use something like Photoshop to put it behind the dragon on the right, and then you could duplicate it, move it over and put it on the left, but then you could scale it and make it look a little different than the other one. It could be a little bigger or a little different angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's entirely up to you. I know you probably are fond of the hand-drawn kind of thing too.
I like the sort of sharper angles on the wings a little bit, because it reminds me of bat wings.
Yeah.
They do that. They have that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it looks great. Really, really fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
We're down here to Brianna, and I think Rena is your partner. Is that right?
Hello.
Hi.
We have some stuff.
Should we just start looking at it?
Yeah, so I totally forgot for the magazine. It's not supposed to be like a magazine, so I'm working on fixing that. But we now have the concept of both the characters that are going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's mine. He's supposed to be the villain of it. And then she created the detective for it.
I
You
love
decided
him.
on going on like a visual novel, I guess, for this time.
Yeah, we're doing a visual novel. I think the names we came up for it is either going to be Deviant or Reports of a Killer.
Nice. Well, this looks really cool.
And then her detective is before this picture.
Wow. They both look great.
Is this like the like she's the helper? She kind of looks like that, like the secretary.
No, I know. Just like a newbie. I guess my idea for it was just like, okay, let's start out with like an idea. Maybe she's like a new detective or something like that.
Yeah. So
So like she doesn't have like street smarts or anything like that, huh?
So for the ad, I'm thinking of doing her in the front, so she's probably gonna be the main character of the story, and then since she looks in the picture more like clumsy or like unsure of stuff, I was either gonna have her on the floor with all the paper surrounding her, or having her have a serious face, but showing that like innocence of like she doesn't really know what's supposed to be happening, and since my villain is supposed to be more twisted. I'm gonna have it where he's gonna be in the back of the picture, either with like more of a sadistic look on his face, or the colors are gonna fade more towards like the black area to show that like it's supposed to be a darker story than it is. I don't know, but I'm working on the concept.
It's the ice cream monster.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like she should have a dropped ice cream monster. I don't know, like at her feet, like an ice cream cone monster in pieces, and it's climbing up her leg or something.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's the type of story it's gonna be.
It's really cool.
I also have.
Are you guys gonna do like a?
Wait, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, are you guys gonna like make a cityscape or a background or like a mansion interior, like a setting type of place?
Right now we have it set for modern. We can talk about that probably a little bit later. But she does like the fact that I did do the website of a trailer. So probably mostly for the trailer we might do like a background, or I just do the characters like interacting with each other, like something to grab your attention. But other than that, we're still working on that.
And I have one more thing. I believe it's before this one where it says billboard idea. It's nothing really. It's just like I was thinking about maybe drawing the characters just like back to back or something, and then like the name of the game. And I plan on putting like I plan on like drawing like a little bit of a gameplay where it's like in the visual novel like setting and all that stuff. Maybe them and maybe a little bit info of the game, and just for fun of it, just like the release date of it.
Yeah.
Unless that seems like it's too much or something, but.
If you guys can do it, I mean, go for it.
Oh, I can't. I stay up long enough, so I'm pretty sure I can get this done within like a day.
Who needs sleep when you can stay up and do stuff?
I don't sleep. I just draw.
So one thing that I think is worth mentioning is that out of these 4 formats that you're doing the ads in, the magazine, the internet website, the van, and the billboard, 2 of those formats should by necessity be a little more minimalistic and a little more attention grabbing. And those are the van and the billboard. Because in those cases, you have the element of speed, of time, right? Okay. So if this is going to be your billboard, then maybe you should really focus in on big pictures and a couple chunks of text that really drive home your product, and maybe really focus on the URL of the website. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
what a great idea! Yeah.
And maybe the van's the same way. Maybe the van is almost like a smaller version of the billboard. But then you have your magazine ad and you have your website, where you have people have a little more luxury because they're sitting down reading the magazine, or they're browsing their computer, and then you can get a little more detail in there.
Okay, I see what you mean.
There's literally been some billboards in Phoenix that I've gone by that had too much info, and it's like every time I would go by for like weeks, I try to read like one line, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I would try to read, but like that's really the billboards that are most effective. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I'm driving down a freeway and I see an image that really captures my attention, and then there's just like a URL, that's super effective because I can just bring it up on my phone, not while I'm driving, right? But, later on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. I'll do that then.
really great stuff though.
Yeah, it's looking great. And Brianna, I love the idea of your villain being in the background behind the detective.
That's gonna be good.
And I like that she's got this the villain has this puppet which can only be assumed to be an evil puppet.
Evil ice cream
Yes,
puppet.
yes.
There's some voodoo stuff or something.
It's a bad
And
bunny. I
then
don't know what it is.
Does she have like some power of voodoo or something?
no, I think the concept of him, I was doing it based off colors, and then I think his was like, he's crazy because he doesn't mean to be crazy. Since we wanted to have like a twisted type of villain, I'll figure out more of the backstory a little bit later for him to make it like make more sense. But for right now, I just have the concept of him.
That's really
Well,
cool.
for like a billboard, I think you guys should really keep in mind like composition, like for storytelling, like how would I put it? Like kind of put, I say the good guy and the bad guy. I'm not sure because it's very hard to explain all that composition. I think that's
Yeah.
something that you guys can probably use to tell a story kind of quick in one big image.
Yeah.
Okay, well, nice.
Maybe for the billboard, we can have one character on there. So maybe like the main character, and then maybe for like the van, it's the other character.
Well, that's a
So
good idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They connect them through like the font that you use and the colors in the background and stuff like that.
Who's a stationary character?
Okay, so let's see. We're down here to Claudia. Claudia, have you guys got anything?
Yeah, I have well, it's not the billboard ad, it's kind of like the main concept, because I'm working on a festival, like a music and arts festival
Okay.
and this would be like the main festival poster.
I think my favorite part of it is Food by Lorem Ipsum.
Right? So you guys can suggest some like good places here, because I'm kind of new. Well, I know I'm pretty new to Tucson, so I didn't know like cool places here. So yeah, it's that's kind of like the main poster. We're gonna work on the billboard, which would be a lot simpler. Maybe take a few elements of that design and make them like on the billboard. And Alma's working on the logo, the band, and the website.
Okay.
I really like the beams of like the cactuses and the tourist cars kind of.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to like incorporate elements of Tucson. And if I had more time, I would have actually like researched or asked you guys about like Tucson landscape, like what do you call them? Like
Iconic imagery, the neon signs, our old neon sign district.
Right, yeah. So that would
It
be
almost reminds me of the old neon sign districts that we have though because of the colors, especially on the bottom. So, but I like the cars. I think they kind of are Tucson-y kind of cars, you know.
I think it's a beautiful poster. I wonder if you tried an experiment, if you took half the cactuses and half the clouds out and see if it's a stronger poster.
Right, yeah. I've been playing around with that for a while. So this is kind of like less minimalistic. I had a more minimalist.
Is it the text?
Sorry?
Or could it be the amount of text?
Well, the thing is that with festival design, this is like it would be like the main image, and it has to have like the line. It's the most important thing. Like on this is the thing that like people see first on social media or everywhere, and then you would start thinking about scaling down. At least for a festival, I think.
I
Um,
like it. It's just really
yeah,
fun.
so it's just for this like particular event. I think it would be more appropriate to first come out with the lineup and the main poster.
Mhm.
And of course, the lineup is like a wishful thinking, my favorite bands kind of lineup.
Yeah, Morrissey is going to play with Radiohead.
Right. Yeah, and Bjork and
Bjork.
Tucson.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
That was last year. That was last year.
That was right.
Yeah, they
so-
came right before you moved here. I want to point out that the font choices are really beautiful up here at the top.
Thank you.
And you know, just the overall poster has a wonderful professional illustrated and designed feel to it.
Thank you.
Okay, and so
And Alma has some other things.
okay, oops, I went back too far. Well, we'll go look at Alma's folder then. Alma, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and ad campaign?
Yeah. Not as fancy as hers, but I tried.
That's okay. Ooh, pretty fancy though.
That's the logo that I'm also using it on the web page. Like the same cactus and the same thing. And we're using the same font for everything.
I think it's I think this van exemplifies kind of what I was telling you guys about, you know, on these two formats, the billboard and the van, having something very minimalist and impactful. This is basically the definition of that, you know. But the question that comes up is the continuity between this and the poster we just saw. You know, like that poster we just saw doesn't have like a super bright purple background. So I'm wondering if there's a way that you guys can bring a little more consistency to the imagery.
Yeah, I can work on that. I was also gonna add the website because she has a website on her page, but I didn't put one in here, like the URL.
Okay, so should I go back into her folder to see the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't have the website design. It was just like I made up like a URL.
Yeah, like the URL, sorry.
Right? Yeah, it's just like www.desertsound.com, something like that.
Oh, I see. Oh, I got it. Okay, right. No problem.
Yeah, no, the website, I'm working on it. Sorry.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, they both look terrific. They both look great. Like I said, see if you can find like colors, backgrounds, whatever that will attach the two. You've got the fonts, you've got the little cool cactus, especially that background color. You know, if you could, you know, use the same gradient that she used in her poster on your van, or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a
I think she's working on incorporating the cityscape.
Yeah.
Have on the poster, so we're gonna be working on that.
Okay, yeah, I got it. So you guys are working from two different perspectives, and you're gonna join everything, right?
Yeah.
On ours, like if Kim uploaded the Photoshop document and I downloaded it, I could copy the special effects layers over to. I didn't, but I copied her images, but I guess I could have copied her effects, or vice versa.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah.
And like, because originally when I did my two, we were on a lighter color scheme, and then she darkened hers. So I had to go back and kind of redo my backgrounds darker, but then I had to adjust everything else so that it would show up.
So Kim was basically trying to sabotage you.
She did.
Yes, that was my plan all along.
So what I did was I stuck my tongue out and went like that,
And then
stayed
and everything was good.
yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
No, I'm very picky when it comes to colors.
Yeah, it was fun learning curve to learn how to, you know, adjust back to that for like what Greg was saying for the consistency, to bring that back in. It's a great learning curve.
Okay. Well, let me jump up here to the next group, which would be Yi and Milo. Milo, I know you're having some internet connection issues.
Yeah,
Yi-
man, it seems like it's running okay now.
okay. So Yi or Milo, do either of you guys have anything for us to look at?
I don't, but I think Milo has something to show.
Yeah, you can go to my folder. I think they should be in there.
Okay, here's the magazine. Is that the old one? That's
Oh yeah, that was the old one.
So Van.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Wow.
What is your company? Oh, your company is the floating toilet in space, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's kind of hard to see on the side. I could bring up the opacity.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's because of the door. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't tell that
I
was
did like
yeah.
I did like a cut thing where I cut out the doorway and filled it with space. Maybe it looks too hard to see that way.
Yeah,
It's so
just so
cool.
you guys know, it's pretty spacious in there.
I'll tell you one thing, we're going in Mars in style.
And I see now that there's like, is this like a rocket trail behind it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try to make it go all the way to the back of the van. It's in that time yet.
Super awesome. I would follow that van to try to figure out what the whole thing was about. It's just so cool. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, like big.
You know what else might help is something like the outer glow used behind the porta potty to make it stand out a little bit.
Oh, that's a good idea. Make it pop. Yeah.
Travel
That's
pod,
an easy-
sir.
Yeah.
It's a travel pod. It's not a porta potty.
But beautiful colors, and then we have the website here.
Yeah, I want to make it look less like a poster because right now I feel like it's more poster-like.
Wow.
Right, yeah, it does look kind of poster. Well, one way to quickly make it not look like a poster is go landscape instead of portrait.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Most websites are in this format, landscape format.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's looking good. Maybe when you and Yi compare notes, against all the different projects, maybe you can do some things like choose some consistent colors for the porta potty and the Mars and stuff like that.
Okay, like share a palette.
Yeah, so that there's a color palette would be ideal, so that then everything looks consistent.
Okay, sounds good.
Looks good.
Yeah, we had one of those. Kim did it, and we just color sampled with the eyedropper from it.
Okay, and Luke.
I really love those colors, you guys, on your Odyssey thing. They're perfect.
Thanks a lot.
I think hey, Luke Cottrell, how about you? Have you guys got anything?
We just kind of settled on a logo design, so I'm gonna upload it to the folder right now, if that's cool.
That's cool.
All right.
So what do you guys think of this team project?
Cool.
It's fun.
It's good.
There's an amazing amount of secondary learning.
Boo.
Okay. It's uploaded.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it'd be like, oh, I like it. I'm having a good time. Boo.
Boo, Wendy Chesterberger.
Yeah.
Boo, Wendy. I think that it's a very practical instrument, and it gives real practical experience of what it would be like to actually be out doing this for work and collaborating.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is the logo that Luke and his partner have decided on.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Guys,
love
made that
it.
so incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool, guys.
Love the
Yeah.
face, love the tree. Awesome.
Credit to Luke to making the whole design. Yeah.
Well, it's
Thanks. We were just bouncing ideas off each other, and this is kind of just the result.
The only thing that I would suggest is maybe consider some different fonts for the text.
Yeah.
Because
Okay. Yeah.
maybe something just a little less sort of handwritten, just a little more formal.
Professional.
Erudite.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of what I was thinking a little bit too. But that was just kind of like the original direction that we were going. So, but yeah, I think it'd be good to try and do something more.
You know, it would be
Yeah,
like
like professional, because it's like healthcare.
Yeah, exactly. Not
Right,
like a bunch of kids are going to come in and color on you with crayons or something.
well, well, the
Yeah.
thing is, though, you want to make it friendly enough to welcome people, because if it's too elegant and, you know, together, people that need therapy might be like, that place is too together for me, I can't fit.
Yeah, I think the whole
Right.
reason that this font looks a little weird is because it's like mix of like lower and high cap like letters. So I'm gonna try to find a font that's like with all the same like caps lock, you know?
Yeah,
Maybe
like
Google mental therapy font.
well, if you go to like the font and you do something like you click on handwritten
Yeah.
and then you type in what's it called, mindful art therapy or something like that.
Mental art therapy,
Art
but
therapy,
something
yeah.
along the line. Yeah.
But it is kind of mindfulness, and that's a buzzword.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It should say woke. Woke art
And
therapy. Woke art.
mindful.
So you know, some of these they're still handwritten, but they're just a little more official, a little more formal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a cool tool that
Yeah, actually, the one that Diego suggested earlier was that one that was used past it. It was called Sunrise International. I didn't end up putting that on there just yet. That one right there.
It's
that
the
big
very
fat black
bolded
text
one.
right there.
Yeah, at the bottom. Yeah, right there in the middle of your screen.
Right. I think that one is an improvement over what you guys have now.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because
But we'll have to
it is a
look.
little more formal, but it's still kind of organic in a way.
All right.
Yeah, that one Paper Daisy one right there could work too, I would think.
that's the one I
That
like.
looks like a nice cross between elegance and casual kind of.
Yeah, welcoming, not too snooty that you feel like you shouldn't, you know, bother them.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's great. I love the logo. It looks fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is great.
If you
Hey.
guys don't mind, I just kind of want to say, for me, it feels, I love it. I just feel like it's maybe a tiny bit unbalanced. And what struck out to me was the colors, but then I also realized that there's like a lot of detail in that tree,
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
face isn't. So I feel like there are ways to incorporate that detail in the face or the simpleness in the tree.
I see
Or
what you're saying.
yeah.
Well,
Like make the tree a little bit more cartoon-like, almost, to match the face, or vice versa, make the face more realistic to match the detail of the tree.
Or I feel like it doesn't even need to be detail versus simplicity. It could also be color. Maybe bring like a little bit of that green, like, I don't know, down to the lips or something.
Yeah, I did put the
Eyelashes.
green in the eyes, but it's probably not that noticeable.
Yeah.
You know,
That nose though.
do you remember how the Mr. Melonhead had those like kind of radish eyebrows?
Mm-hmm.
You could take like some of these tree leaves and you could give the person like tree
Wow.
eyebrows or something, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
A mustache.
You know, that could be it because
Yeah.
I'm like looking at this and this is hitting Uncanny Valley for me.
Okay. Which is creeping you out?
I'm not.
Just a little.
Okay.
I thought it was a little bit creepy too. I think the nose looks like a snake head almost. I was kind of just like wrapping around.
See, it's
But
not.
at the same time, it could also, you know, dealing with yourself is scary. You know, you gotta cut through all the uncertain ghouls that live inside of you.
Yeah.
This also
It's
feels
the
like
eyes that's doing it for me.
Yeah, it's kind of peering into your soul.
Yeah,
also
the
kind of
eyes
looks
were
like
like
some
the difficult part.
someone like something.
One other thing, guys. Maybe take one of the colors, like maybe this blue, and put the font in that color.
Yeah, I
Or
incorporated the
highlight
color.
it, highlight it with it, or have like a black stroke or that blue stroke or something,
Mhm.
two-tone maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, it's
I
really
feel like the face does need to look a little bit less like kind of I don't know, it has like this weird kind of mystical staring into your face, almost intimidating kind of feel to it. Maybe it could be brightened up a little bit, I think.
Is there a way that I slant that is, I don't know.
Is this a turnip?
Yeah,
Is it a turnip?
Or the
I know,
the
right?
mouth,
Kind
the
of-
mouth corners turning up, or is there a way to, you're saying you think it looks
Yeah.
too
There
scary?
are ways you can try and.
I think that's the case with any face that just has like the most simple facial features, though.
I like it.
That's fair.
I thought the branches being somehow incorporated like along the eyelashes or whatever might just give it just that little soft and then the cohesion. Just a little.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, but it's really cool.
I think you might want to take this design. It's a wonderful design. You might want to take it and you might want to do 2 or 3 different versions of it. One where you make the tree cartoon, one where you incorporate some of the realism in the face, one where you get rid of the snaky nose, one where you make it even more primitive, you know, and see which one really floats your boat and go in that direction, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're
I'll,
saying these things
yeah.
because we like it so much that we want it to be perfect.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
No, I totally get it. I'm not getting butthurt at all.
No, I mean,
I love
it's
criticism.
just, I'm trying to take all the advice I can. You know?
one other thing that I want to say is, and this may totally not be the direction you want to go, but it reminds me of an artist that was really popular in the 60s. And if you like this style, you could use it for your, you know, backgrounds and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, you familiar with this artist, Peter Max?
Peter Max.
No.
No, I am not.
So Peter Max was a really popular pop artist in the 60s. And he used a very colorful style that came to be associated with the kind of LSD drenched album art, poster art, you know, that was happening in the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
So you can see some examples of his work here. And also his work had a big influence on the people who did the Yellow Submarine cartoon for the Beatles.
I can see.
You can see how this would influence, if you're familiar with that cartoon, you can see how the influence, there's Peter right there.
He's 81 and has Alzheimer's at this point, unfortunately, and hasn't painted in 4 years. Just reading up on him.
Oh.
Yeah, here's a really beautiful piece by him. Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, can you see how, like, when I look at yours with the beautiful colors and the face, that I could see, like, if you want to do a really beautiful background with interesting colors and shapes, you know.
Yeah, that would be a cool theme vibe kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Greg.
Yeah.
Is this guy very popular?
Well, yeah.
Even now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is his art?
Well, I read, it's really interesting. If you guys are interested in this guy, you should look him up. His art sells for a lot. He's been around since the 60s. He's well known, and his prints go for a good deal of money.
Are we talking about?
I'm Googling it.
I'm kind of curious because I heard someone said that he has Alzheimer and in bed.
Yeah.
15, here's one for 15,000, a 48 by 36 oil on canvas for auction.
If he does kick it, it means that it's gonna go for more. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's actually a really sad article about him in the New York Times that was done about a year or two ago. And what happened was he got Alzheimer's, and the people around him started to take advantage of him. And they hired all these people to come in and like do work that looked like his, and then they would put his name on it. So they basically created this factory of fake Peter Max art, you know?
Oh, okay.
I read that book and saw the movie. I mean, it's like there's a lot of that kind of story, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. When artists get older, especially really famous artists that made a lot of money, their families and their friends sometimes swoop in and take advantage of them, you know?
Right now, I'm only when I get old.
Yeah, that's what you all have to look forward to.
I think
Say
that
no to kids.
His business brains jumped in. He's going to be buying one of these and
Exactly.
Just get
I'm
it.
looking on eBay right now.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Now you got to be careful. It's not a knockoff, huh?
Yeah, I gotta worry about that. Thanks for the info, Greg.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we? I think the work is looking great. So why don't we go ahead and take a little 15-minute break? We'll come back around 2:45.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Well, hello. So,
hello.
Hi, Luke.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Are we
So,
returning
Is
already?
next week, are we gonna work in Adobe InDesign?
Next week, we're going to start learning InDesign. But
I'm enjoying Photoshop.
well, we're going to do Photoshop a couple days of next week. Tomorrow, we only have one more day of this week tomorrow. And if you look at, let me share my screen here real quick. If you look at this list, we've got at least 3 more projects to do in Photoshop. So one I'm going to talk about today, which would be the infographics poster. Tomorrow we'll look at this double page spread of catalog products, and then Monday we'll look at this one. So I think you're looking at least through Monday, continuing on Photoshop, and then after that we'll move on to InDesign.
Now, is there any way, because I'm so slow, that we can get an idea of what 8, 9, and what 9 and 10 are also, in case we had time over the weekend?
Well, sure. The double page spread of catalog products is, it's basically like a magazine spread, a double page spread. So it goes out, it's over 2 pages of a magazine, and it is, it's basically a catalog of products. So you would have a little picture of a product, you would have the price, and you would have a little description of it. And it could be whatever type of products you want. It could be mop heads, it could be sandals, you know, vinyl records.
They always used to send out. They always used to send out those seed catalogs back in the day.
Yeah, I've got. You want to hear my funny story about selling seeds?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Robin, this falls under the funny story category.
Yes.
So when I was a kid, I read a lot of comic books, and on the back of the comic book, there was this ad that said, sell seeds, make money, get
Burpee.
prizes, right?
Was it Burpee Seeds?
I don't remember the name of the company, but you know, they said that you could, you know, based on the number of seeds you sold, you could get these cool prizes like a bicycle and a skateboard and all this kind of stuff. And so I was just like a little dorky kid, like probably 11 or 12 years old. And I sure enough, I cut out, you know, the coupon. I set it in with my $5 or whatever. And they sent me a package, a box with a bunch of different seed packs in, right?
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm a little entrepreneur. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go around the neighborhood. People are going to buy seeds from me, even if they don't need them because I'm a cute kid, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I started walking around the neighborhood, knocking on doors, you know, and I this was probably my first mistake. I went off of our block, right? And I started to go out into the dark nether regions of this surrounding neighborhood, right? And I went to this one house. It was right on the corner. And I went up and there was a screen door. And I went and I knocked on the screen door. And then, you know, the door inside was open. I looked down the hallway and there was a German Shepherd at the other end of the hallway who was looking at me and growling, right? And I just kind of froze. And the next thing I knew, this German Shepherd was bounding down the hallway. He jumped up and hit the screen door and broke the screen and came through the screen and bit me.
Oh, no.
It was
no.
I was just, and so
Yeah, funny story. Hilarious. No.
all of a sudden this woman comes out, you know, she's like, Barney, leave him alone, you know, or whatever. And she smacks the dog, gets him off me. She brings me in, you know, she sits me down and she looks to see, you know, I have these bite marks or whatever. And she's nice enough to, like, you know, put some disinfectant on them and put a bandage and everything. And so then I look up at her and I go, do you want to buy some seeds?
Me too. Did she buy some?
No.
What? What's so weird?
See, I'm a horrible person. The next thing I would have done is gone to my parents and be like, her dog bit me.
I mean, like, today,
I was going to buy them all.
Today there would be no arguing about the fact that there would be a lawsuit. We would have her house and we would have the dog put to sleep. No, I'm kidding. But
Please don't, they're babies.
yeah, anyway, that's my seed story. Okay.
The dangerous business of seed sale.
Good one.
Now, what we're going to talk about today is the next project on the agenda is called an infographic project. Who can tell me what an infographic is?
It's a graphic that gives you information.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So let me click here on this little link on the website to see some examples of infographic posters. Okay, and so this is just a variety of them. So this one is a poster that shows you the chart of cosmic exploration. Okay, that's kind of an infographic. Let's see, birds of North America.
Ooh, look at that.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, now here's some that are sort of more in the tradition of what I'm thinking of infographic. So here's one that talks about sharks and whales, you know, some of the largest mammals and stuff. Here's,
That's awful, that punishment. I was just looking at that.
yeah. Okay, let's look at the fishing one instead. So here's one. This is a great example. So this gives you, you know, all kinds of information about fishing, but with colorful charts and cool graphics and stuff like that. So anyway, so okay, so we get the idea of what an infographic is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know, the assignment is going to be to make an infographic poster, and you would make it something like 24 by 36, so it could be printed out. And for this project, you can use Photoshop, but you can also use Illustrator as kind of an auxiliary program that helps you with things like charts and stuff. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. if I go into Illustrator here, you can see that I have a little pie chart here. And I'm going to show you how I made this pie chart in Illustrator and how you can make other charts. And then I'm going to show you how you can pull them over into Photoshop. So I know it seems weird that we're going back to Illustrator when we're in Photoshop, but the two programs work really well together. If you're in Illustrator and you come down to near the bottom of your toolbox, there's a little icon that looks like a bar graph, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if you click on that bar graph, you're going to see all of these different types of graphs that you can make in Illustrator. You can make what's called a column graph. You can make a bar graph. You can make something called a line graph or a scatter graph. And of course, there's the pie chart, which we all know and love, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'll just show you how to make a couple of these, and then you guys can play with them. If I wanted to make a pie chart, I would click on the picture that looks like a pie graph, and I would click once on my screen. And what happens is a little dialog box would come up. It says, you know, how big do you want to make your pie graph? I'll just use their default 100 by 100 and hit OK. Now, what happens is it brings the pie up, and it brings up a little box where you can put in numbers. But in addition to this, it makes everything black, right? So the first thing you might want to do is open up your color palette here over on the right-hand side, and notice that you're entirely in a white to black grayscale world right now. Now, the way to change that into color is to click on the hamburger menu here and go from grayscale to RGB, okay? Now you're in red, green, blue, and now you can take this black color that's in the front. You can take your mouse and hover it over this color spectrum here and just click a color, and now your graph becomes colorized instead of just black and white, right? Now then the next question becomes, how do you get data into this pie chart that accurately reflects the distribution of data in your infographic, right? And the way it works is you simply type the numbers that you want to appear in your chart in these little boxes here, okay? So let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to make up some numbers. We're going to pretend we're doing just a generic infographic. What you do is you click on any one of these boxes, and then you type a number in the white box at the top. So I'm going to type in the number 7. I'm going to click on the next box. I'm going to type in the number 12. Click on the next box, type in the number 4, and click one more and type in the number 3. Okay, now watch what happens. When I'm done, I click on this little check mark, and what it does is a distribution of all that data into the pie chart. Now, unfortunately, it's all the same color, right? But you can easily change that. All you do is click on your white arrow tool, click somewhere in the white to deselect everything, and then click on one slice of the pie chart. Then all you have to do is select a different color, and it changes that slice of the pie chart. So you can go in and you can change each color to be a different color, and maybe, for something like this, you might want to use something like one of those color palettes that you can generate off of color.adobe.com or Color Lovers. And a nice color palette distributed across here might look really good. My colors are kind of random, right? But anyway, you could further enhance this chart. When you're done, you can close this window right here. But you can further enhance this chart by clicking on your type tool and adding in, some text, 15% or something like that. You could add in text that sits next to each one of these slices, and then also maybe put in some sort of a title for this chart. I'm just putting random things in here, and they're not nicely distributed around the circle or anything, but I'm just kind of randomly putting them in here. And then you could put something like robots in Kim's house. Okay, so
That's just a little too many.
Okay, so, you know, this just shows a pie chart, right? And by the way, if you want to get a really nice distribution of the data that's surrounding it, you could make another circle. You know, start your circle in the center, hold down your Alt key and your Shift key. Make a circle like this. Oh, looks like my circle's a little off of that pie chart.
Oof.
And then use that circle to make sure all of your text, basically the bottom of the text hits where that circle is, right? I don't know what I'm going to do with this 15%. It's a little too out there. Maybe I need to make all my fonts a little smaller. Yeah, maybe I'll go down to 9. Okay. But I'll show you what I mean. Once you do this, and then you get rid of the circle, it makes everything look like it is, you know, the same distance from the inner circle, and that looks kind of good, right? Now you don't actually have to get rid of the circle. You could just turn the circle white, and then it sort of disappears. But then, see, my 15% is kind of screwing everything up. Make sure your white is sent to the back. So object, let's see, click, object, arrange, send to back. Yeah, like I said, my 15% is, here, I tell you what, let's put the 15% over here. And it will be a better demo. Okay, even though it's probably not accurate, right? So you can see that these numbers kind of follow the circle around and look a little better, look like they're sort of equidistant from the pie chart, right? Okay, so then another chart you could do, all of the charts work the same way. So you could go in here back to your pie chart graph here, and this time we could do a column graph. Once again, you just click, it asks you what size you want to make it. It puts it in black and white, so you can immediately change it to, you know, you can change it to RGB once you get your colors in there. So once again, I'm just going to put in some random numbers here, just to get some data to work with, and hit my check mark. Then I'm going to change this. Let's see. Okay, while this is selected, see if I can, it's not, oh, here we go. Click on my fill color and just pick a color. And now everything fills with that color. And then if I click on the white arrow, I can select individual pieces and recolor them to whatever color I want. Okay. And so, you know, each chart obviously shows information in a different way, and you can decide which one is the most accurate, you know, for you. Now, by the way, you can edit these numbers. So if you like this 6 was supposed to be like a 5 or something like that, or let's say it was supposed to be a 2, you can change it and then hit this little check mark again, and it will change, it will update the graph, right?
Yeah.
So now the idea is, since Illustrator does such a cool job of making graphs, when you guys put your infographic posters together, if you get some data, or even if you make up some data, you know, you can do it in Illustrator and then bring it over into Photoshop. Now let's see how that would work. So there's a couple ways to get this into Photoshop. Let's do the simplest way, which is just the simple cut and paste. So let's say I go over into Photoshop, and I know my assignment is to make a 24-inch by 36-inch infographic poster. So I go under File, New, and I say I want to make a poster which is 24 inches wide and 36 inches tall with 300 pixels per inch, right? And I hit Create. So it gives me this, let's see. It gives me this brand new sheet here, right? Now, then I go into Illustrator, I make my first graph, I click on that graph, this little guy right here, I do Edit, Copy, I go back into Photoshop and I do edit, paste, and I hit OK. Ooh, okay, it didn't like it. So it doesn't like that format. So the other option that you have is to export it as a PNG file. So let's try that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my pie chart off of here. I'm simply going to cut it so that all I have is this graph, right? Now, if I want to save this to bring into Photoshop, I can say File, Export, Export As. I can go to my desktop and I can call this chart dash PNG, and I can use the artboards if I want, right? And I can hit export. And it's going to show me what
Hey,
it's.
Greg.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I kind of missed how you changed the colors for each of the bars. How exactly did you?
Okay, not a problem. So what you do is, once you've got it done, click on your white arrow tool. And then just click on one of the color blocks, open up your color palette, and then just select a color.
Oh,
Yeah. Me too.
All right. Sorry. Thanks.
That's okay.
Yep, I wasn't using the white.
Now what I
arrow.
did was I just did File, Export, Export As. I used my artboard and I saved it as a PNG. I called it chart.png, right? Now I'm going into Photoshop. I'm simply going File, Open. I'm going to my desktop. I'm clicking on chart.png and I'm hitting Open. And that, of course, opens as a separate file, right? Now what I can do in Photoshop is I can grab the tab that has that file on it and I can drag it down, and this will become a free floating window, right? Now I can click on my move tool, grab this image and simply drag it onto my 24 by 36 inch document. And now I have a brand new layer, which basically has this whole page on it, you know, which has that little chart on it, right? So now I can do edit, transform, scale. I can scale this thing up and make the chart whatever size I want. Now, when I did this the first time, I didn't realize how small that was going to be. And also all this extra white space, who cares for that? I don't like that. So I'm going to drag this layer to the trash. I'm going to go back to Illustrator, and this time I'm going to make my chart like way bigger, right? So I'm going to go here into the scale tool and make it like 200%. Or let's make it 400%.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I might even get a little nuts. I might click on my artboard tool here and grab the corners of this artboard down just so I get this nice little box, you know, so I'm not wasting any time, right? I'm just getting that. Okay, so now we export this bad boy, File, Export, Export As. We'll call this chart2.png. We'll use the artboard and hit Export. Okay, so now once again, going into Photoshop, opening that file, that PNG that I just exported from Illustrator. So chart2. Okay, that is its own file. So I click on the tab and drag it down to get it to float. Click on my move tool, click on this, hold my mouse down and drag that image from this image to here. And now I get a brand new layer. And so I can call this, you know, column chart or whatever.
Whoa, magic.
And then, you know, you can increase the size of that or whatever. So
because it's vector, you can change the size up and it doesn't lose its clarity.
no, it's now pixel art.
But it looks clear.
Yeah, it looks clear, but it's it would be better if you increased its size over here.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, here's another possibility. Give this a transparent background so that your chart can sit on color, right? So like, let's say that in Photoshop, I took my background layer here and I decided I wanted to fill that with a big gradient of color. So what I'm going to do is use my rectangular marquee tool and select the whole thing. I'm going to click on my gradient tool. I'm going to click up here. You can click right on your little gradient icon at the top, and it will give you a library of gradients. And I can just choose like purples and choose this cool gradient here, hit OK, and then drag this down. And now it's going to fill my background with this crazy blue to pink to purple gradient, right? Which looks really cool, but then my chart looks dorky on top of it, right? So in that case, I could re-export this. And by the way, like I said, it's still coming in kind of small. So I can maybe double the size of my artboard and then double the size of this thing, go to 200%. And now when I export it, I'll export it with a transparent background. So File, Export, Export As, use Artboard, ping, we'll call this chart 3, right? But this time when it asks me what kind of a background I want, I say transparent. And you see the checkerboard pattern there, which means transparency. So now I export that bad boy. I go to Photoshop, once again, open that in Photoshop as a separate file. Okay, and here it is with the transparent background, right? Drag it down, click on it, drag it over, and now it comes over. I can throw away this column chart that has a white background, and now I have this this nice new layer that has no background, so I can put it wherever I want, right? So, okay, so that covers a couple things, which is one is using charts and pie charts and graph charts and column charts or whatever in Illustrator. And you can put in actual data that you get from resources that you research, or you can put in some fake data just to get the kind of distribution of data you want, the way you want your pie charts to look and stuff. And then from Illustrator, save it, export it as a ping, give it a transparent background if you want. Make your 24 by 36 poster, a blank poster in Photoshop. Open up all your Illustrator ping files and drag them on top of this. And then you can go in here and start putting text in, labeling things. So this is distribution of fast animals in Arizona. I'm not sure how big my text is. Oh, I guess it's 1.85, so that's pretty small. All right, there we go. Okay, so you can start putting your text in. I would suggest assembling everything in Photoshop, but you can get your graphs and stuff from Illustrator and put them in here. And then of course you could go out on the internet and get pictures that will help support your work. So if I go to like freeimages.com and type in like Roadrunner or something like that, then and be sure and scroll past the iStock stuff because you have to pay for that. Here's the free stuff, right? So I'll just get a cute picture of a Roadrunner, copy this guy, paste him in, and I could stack a couple of animals up right there. I could give my poster a name. I could have blocks of text that describe what we're talking about and a couple more charts, and then maybe some logos and stuff down here. So, and just going back to this for the example, you see all of these different types of charts, and they can be as graphic and as beautiful as you want them to be. They don't have to be boring, but if you want to bring in data information, here's a really neat, beautiful chart actually that does pie charts, but in a really cool, interesting way. And then here's more data, and they're displaying it in this way with lots of beautiful graphics. And so the idea of an infographic is to capture people's attention and to sort of trick them. It's almost like when you were a little kid and you went to the dentist's office and the dentist said, "Hey, you want some candy? We've got candy in the back. You're like, yeah, candy. And then you go in and you sit down and they strap you to a chair. They give you a lollipop and they start, pulling a tooth out, right? It's kind of like,
Another was like clickbait.
what's that?
Clickbait. So we kind of have to make it like that, something that lures people.
Right. Yeah. So the idea here is that you want to lure people in. It's like people don't like to necessarily sit down and just read raw data because it's, maybe some people do, but it's boring. So you're going to dress the data up in beautiful graphics and beautiful charts that make it very appealing, almost like a sumptuous meal or a beautiful ensemble of clothing or something. And you can see this is a great example. Medications for digestion, that is not an article that I'm going to read generally. But this graphic is so interesting, I would probably pay it some attention, right? Ubiquitous introduction of robotics, teleportation technology. So, this is not something I would generally read in my free time, but the graphics are so compelling that it pulls me in, right? So that's your goal, is to, you can be about anything you want. You could pick your favorite anime cartoon and say number of times that Naruto ran with his arms straight out in one episode, and make a little chart for that or something, right? Just make the data compelling. Make us want to look at it, Okay, questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
There are two. There was used to go into RBG, on the hamburger menu to maybe get the color to go from grayscale out. But when I made my document, I noticed that it said it was making a CMYK. So when do those things start taking over each other?
Well, ultimately, it depends on the printer. Now, this is going to sound weird because CMYK is what's called the color space in which we print. In other words, theoretically, everything that comes out of a print shop should be printed in CMYK mode because that's real world printing, right? However, some printers that you go to say, well, we don't know why, but if you put it in RGB color space, it actually looks better when you print it, right? So, like for example, I used to work at what's called a service bureau, which is where you output images for people like Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's, or reproduction places like that. And that's what we found. We found that if people gave us their files in RGB, they printed better. So that's people. Now, if you're going to send it to a true offset printer, somebody that's going to use those giant rolls and print it on like newsprint or magazine or whatever, you're probably going to want it in CMYK.
Right. Sometimes it just seems like the monitors too are playing some shade games with you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that because there is something called calibration that comes into play, and everybody's monitor looks a little different than everybody else's.
Right.
Based on how old the monitor is, its refresh rate, 60 hertz per second or whatever, the amount of ambient light in the room. And so what happens is people who are professional designers will sometimes have professionals come over and calibrate their screens.
I remember that from a long time ago.
Or they'll buy software which allows them to self-calibrate their screens
Ooh.
so that they can accurately design colors that will then be printed correctly.
Are there different calibration standards based on different parts of the world?
Yeah, in fact, let me go into Photoshop and show you the insane amount of them. Let me see. Okay, so in Photoshop, of course, I'm on a Macintosh, so I went under Edit, Preferences, I believe, and you guys might go under the name of the program or file. I forget which one it is for PC. But look at this list of color spaces.
Unbelievable. It's awesome.
Well, it's good to know because some of them are specific to specific devices. Like Canon MX 340 series MP2. If you have that DSLR camera and you're shooting with it and you want to look at pictures, you can change to that color mode and it will accurately reflect the colors of your pictures, right?
Oh, yeah, because my TV monitors that I got have like 5 or 6 settings just on the monitor themselves, prefabs. But anyway.
Yeah, so, you know, and once again, if you're doing professional work for a printer or something like that, oftentimes they'll have a spec sheet for you, and they'll tell you all the information that they've gleaned over the years. They'll say, you know, oh, okay, you're making a business card for this client. Here's a template you can download, and the template will be at size. It will be in the correct color space. Do you know what I mean?
I do, absolutely do. We have something like that in my job that we do for each other.
Yeah. Okay, other questions or comments?
I have a question. Is
Yeah.
it possible to like make changes or edits on vector art in Photoshop?
Not as vector art. If you drop it in as a smart object, you can go back and re-edit in the original program.
Okay.
So if I make, let me get rid of this little chart here. If I make this green circle in Photoshop here, or I mean in Illustrator, let me see if I copy it. I might have to try this a couple different times to get it to work, but let's see. Paste. Now notice when you paste it in, it gives you all these different options, right? Now it says it will paste it as a path, which would mean it would be editable, but let me put it as a smart object. Okay, it says add to my current library. Okay, so we're gonna go okay. So now we have this thing pasted in as a smart object, and when you look, it says vector smart object here, right? Okay, and then I clicked on it and it opened up this library here, and I'm waiting for the library to open up.
The same thing happened to me when I was working on my project today, and I ended up having to shut Photoshop down.
Oh, really? Because it just went on and on and on?
Yeah, I'm sorry if
Oh, no, it's okay. I just stopped it. I don't trust it when that kind of stuff is happening. So let me think. Okay, so watch this. So now we have this circle, which was placed as a vector object, right? Or I'm sorry, placed as a smart object, right? So now what we can do is we can right click on it and we can say edit contents, and see it launches the file back in Illustrator. And so now I can go in and do whatever changes I want to the graphic, right?
Cool.
And save it. Well, let's see what happens in Photoshop. Yeah, see how it updates?
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's one way to do it. Here's another way that we could potentially do it. Let me make a different object in Illustrator. Okay, so they said that when I copied this and pasted it in, that I could do it as paths, which are, of course, vector paths, right? So I'm going to take this star and I'm going to say edit, paste. And so you can see all the options here. Pixels will turn it right into Photoshop Pixels, and then you'll have to edit it in Photoshop. Smart object is what we just saw, which is where you get to go back to the original program and edit it. But let's try path and hit OK. Whoa. All right, so let's see.
Oh, I was like playing around with this also, and it changed it to like an outline when I tried it, and it was invisible, so it might still be there.
Yeah, I think it's still here, but it's what I really want is for it to vector smart object vector mask. I really want to turn it into a selection, but it's not letting me do that. Yeah, let me try that again. Edit, copy. All right, let's turn that off. What if I make a new layer and paste it in here? It's probably going to make its own layer. Path. Yeah, vector mask. Clipping path, pen options, new path. Yeah, well, let's see what happens. Panel options. No, that's not it. New path, clipping path. Yeah, none of this stuff is stuff that's very useful to me that's going to help me. Yeah, none of this stuff is useful to me. So I think I would rather, my suggestion would be to drop it in as a smart object. Because then you can just go back and edit it in Illustrator.
Okay, so general consensus is like do everything in Illustrator because you can't really edit it in Photoshop.
Well,
because it takes you right back to Illustrator.
I would amend that by saying do everything in Illustrator that Illustrator is good at.
Yeah.
And then do things in Photoshop that Photoshop is good at. Like you would never do this gradient background in Illustrator because what's the point? You can just do it here in Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
That was kind of unrelated to Photoshop. I was trying to get my pen tool to, or like the brush to actually be pressure sensitive. I don't know if it's just a problem with the stylus that I have or what, but like it just isn't, it's not changing the pressure sensitivity whenever I set it in the brush.
Is it in Photoshop?
No, Illustrator.
Oh.
Only some screens and some pens are pressure sensitive, right? Not all of them are.
That's correct. You know what you can try, Luke, to see if your setup is correct. Create a new Photoshop file, and then I can show you how to make sure your pressure sensitivity is on in Photoshop, and you can test to make sure your machine works with that. So go ahead and create a blank file in Photoshop.
Okay.
Okay, now go over to the right side of your screen, and there should be a little setting that looks like a brush with like some dots above it. This little thing right here.
Mm-hmm.
Click on your brush.
I'm still waiting.
Click on your brush. There's two brush tools you might see on the right. One is just paint brushes, and one is a single paintbrush with dots and lines above it.
Okay.
If you click, and now click on the brush tool on the toolbox on the left.
Okay.
Okay, now on the right, when you click on that little button, does this screen open up?
Yeah.
Okay, click on the words Shape Dynamics on the left. And then under Control, make sure it says Pen Pressure.
Okay.
Now take your mouse with your brush and go ahead and start painting on the screen. You can close up this window if you want, and vary between light pressure and hard pressure, and your paint width of your brush stroke should get thinner and thicker.
Yeah, it definitely works with Photoshop.
Okay, it only works in Photoshop.
Yeah, I've gotten it to work before, like when I first opened Illustrator like a long time ago, but then it just stopped working, and then I just don't know how to get it back to being able to do that, because that would be helpful.
Okay, let me try myself. Okay, mine is working right now. You can see this brush stroke that I made right here that went thick.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need to give me a second. I'm gonna have to look through some of these settings and see where it might.
How did you make it thicker? By going slower or push? I mean, you're using a mouse, right?
No, I was using I used my pressure sensitive pen.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a cool trick.
Yeah, no, you can't do it with a mouse without a pressure sensitive tablet.
Okay.
Let me look that one up, Luke, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you show me how to change the color for the pie chart for each individual segment of it?
So,
By the way, Greg,
yeah.
you know the little, when you do the pie chart, you get the little gray box with where you put the numbers in, 10, 20%.
Yeah.
For some reason, I went 10, 20, 60, and then it went down a level on that chart and down another level. And then when I was just playing and I said, okay, it made 3 individual pie charts of different sizes because it wasn't all on that top line, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that 7 was down to, it actually recreates the chart in a smaller version. It was weird.
You can open this window up larger to keep everything on the top line.
I was just hitting tab. I don't know how I managed to do it. It just kind of was interesting to see what the result was. But
Okay. All right. So, so let's say you make a chart like this. The first thing you want to do is click on your fill color down here, which is the box in the front. And then you can open up your color picker here, and you can just select a color. And that's going to fill your whole chart with that color. And then I'm going to zoom in on this here. The way to change the individual blocks is to click on your white arrow tool. Click in the white to deselect everything. And then click on the individual block you want to change. Open up your palette.
That's it?
And select a color. Yeah.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Thanks. And for making the charts for the numbers, like how do I get everything to be even? Do I just type the same number?
Basically.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Welcome.
By the way,
Another
Greg, I figured it out, so don't worry about it. Thank you.
I was trying to find the brush one on the right that you said. I can't seem to, how would I?
Well, if you don't see it, then you have to open it. So it's called brush settings. So go under window and go to brush settings and click on that.
Okay, I clicked on brush, sorry. I see it.
There's 2 brush palettes, and it's very confusing, and it's easy to get one instead of the other, you know?
And it was, okay, and it was shape dynamics.
Yeah, and then choose pen pressure in the right. Drop down menu. Under here, look at my screen here.
Oh, sorry.
See how it's shape dynamics and then control, drop down menu and choose pen pressure.
Oh, okay, mine said off.
Yeah, so it wasn't working.
Whoa. Is there the same thing in, okay, so this is in Photoshop. Is there the same thing in Illustrator?
No.
No?
Yes, Luke, what did you do to get it to work?
So I just created a new brush by like clicking on the there's a little toolbar at the top where where there's the brush settings, and it's created a new calligraphy brush, and then and it has to be a calligraphy brush because the other ones don't give you the pressure settings. So then you go under size or like there's a different this is for the Illustrator one, yeah. So
different type.
Yeah, so instead of clicking fix, you click on pressure, and then like on the size setting. So then you can like expand the variation that it will increase in size.
Yeah.
And you go, the bigger you make it, the larger the variation number, the more of a
Okay, right. So yeah, the larger the variation, the more of a change it's going to make.
They
the
had
more of
that,
a variation.
yeah, they had that in a free like cell phone app. you could increase the amount of like a drag effect on either end of the
Right.
calligraphy. It was interesting. Otherwise, I really wouldn't know what you're talking about. I just saw it like a couple days ago. So Greg, you said there is no such thing in Illustrator.
Yeah, there's no similar brush set panel, but there is one called brushes. And if you open the brushes, you can click on this plus symbol and create a new brush. And this is what Luke's talking about, is creating a brush. And look, you got right here, the menu, you have fixed or pressure. Sensitivity. You can make how much it's going to vary right here, right?
And you're in Illustrator.
Yeah, we're in Illustrator.
Okay.
And then see how my
wow. Oh my gosh, it's such a black hole, these programs. They're wonderful, but wow.
Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah, is InDesign our last class?
Well, InDesign is the last software. Does that make sense?
Yeah, is it that will be our last software, right?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
How long have you been teaching?
For about 3 hours now. I think I started at Pima 10 years ago, and I think I might have been teaching for 10 years before that.
Oh my. Well, you're very good at it. So.
Thank you. You're an excellent student.
Oh. Cool. Anybody else want to do compliment day with us?
Want to do what day?
Compliment day. It's like some teachers, this is a true story. I think it's a funny story and I won't put it quite right, but I took a communications class with an unnamed professor. And we had the weirdest communication breakdown within the first, day. And it was so ironic to me because the person is supposed to be like a communications expert, right? It's weird. But no, I really appreciate it over my last couple of years. There's so many talented teachers at Pima, and some of them are just so proactive for student learning, including our current professor, which I'm always really impressed with that. I did a lot of kind of teaching stuff when I was younger, and it's really nice to see that focus. So Robin, you want to play compliment day?
I'll think of one.
Right? It can be random compliments of anybody, your grandmother, Tucson.
I heard it's gonna rain on Thursday, so I'm trying to find like a traditional Tucson recipe to make.
Where in Tucson?
Yeah.
That means the next day might go where I am. I was thinking,
do some raspados. Do some traditional raspados because it's so darn hot out.
Yep.
What are raspados?
Oh, you got to go. What is the name of that place across from St. Augustine Mercado? It is a traditional Sonoran. Is it Sonoran Delights, you guys?
I don't remember.
I haven't ordered none of these.
It's go on Congress, go west until you get to St. Augustine Mercado, almost to the bend at St. Mary's. It's this little, tiny, cute, traditional Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is
On
so
St.
good.
Mary's, yeah.
Yeah. It's look up. I think it's Sonoran Delights, Robin. But look up Raspados. They're so much fun.
I actually think that I've been there before. Is it like that ice dessert?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was
Chili
called.
and peanuts and lime and oh,